Hey guys, probably going to put this video on our Nature and Environment in Japan playlist, although it might also end up on the Food and Eating in Japan playlist for reasons that will become obvious shortly. So I've got a bunch of Japanese fishing boats here. Obviously they've finished work for the day. Just one guy here moving around. We thought you might want to have a look at this. This is sort of pretty interesting. He's moving his boat so he can bring on some new nets. So we hadn't seen this before, we hadn't seen anybody doing this before, so we were a bit surprised to see him moving at fairly high speed towards this concrete wall over here. And we had no idea. We thought he might have been having a problem or some sort of mechanical failure or something, because he just kept hooting towards this concrete wall. And then right at the last moment did something clever in there and pretty well stopped the boat on the spot, and just sort of moved it over and gently put it up against the edge. Pretty spectacular. Anyway, that was that entertainment, and then we went inside. So this was a fish market, so they have the boats tie up outside and they bring all the seafood straight inside. So obviously those things are collected by hand. Some people call those pippies. Not quite sure what they're called in other countries. I think Japanese people call them kai. Those people who are really into seafood might recognise some of these things. Obviously all still alive. They're all sitting there in the water, still alive. Bunch of crabs in there. So everything's obviously kept alive for as long as possible, because obviously Japanese people are very fussy about having fresh seafood, so they take great pains to keep as many things alive as they can, and those things that they can't, they tend to prepare. So obviously these fish here have been prepared, they've been gutted, spread out. Shrimp, or prawns as some people call them. Some pretty big king prawns there. That's fish eggs, fish roe, and those little tube sausage looking things there are actual little sacks full of fish eggs. We showed you once before actually a fish egg processing place where they had those things. Octopus, little octopus. So one pack's $10, or 1,000 yen, $10. Some more fish roe there. Oh, there's those little fish. We've showed you these before. They're very common to put on top of things. They'll put them on top of rice. Those little fish we actually showed you once before, put on top of ice cream. That's not real common, that's pretty rare, but nevertheless it does happen. Octopus there, squid, that was squid, wasn't octopus, it was squid. And then various dried things. There's dried squid legs there, seaweed. So obviously seafood paradise for anybody who's into seafood. This is the place. And then processed seaweed or prepared seaweed, which is now nori, of course. Once it reaches that style, that presentation is nori. So you can see here it's a market, and there's lots of different families operating different stalls there, competing with each other, which is all very healthy. Great atmosphere, very outgoing group of people in there. They were very sort of animated for Japanese people. Japanese people aren't normally so animated as those guys were. And some of you will recognise these are fugu, and they've actually been done up into little, like a light fitting, so you can actually put a light in there and hang outside your house. Fairly funny thing, isn't it? Anyway, there it was, the fish market. More videos coming soon.